Welcome to the Avour Zee podcast.
Yeah.
We have Zion here and Avour right here.
Yeah.
So, let's go. What do you have for Zion?
Okay. So we're talking about three things basically. We have three major stories. First is the redesign of the naira and what it means to us. Second, we're talking about the Kanye West controversy, and third, we're talking about Elon Musk's acquisition of Twitter. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's get into it.
Okay. So first off, the naira design. That's the CBN governor. That's Godwin Emefiele. Basically, just came out and just said that we're going to redesign the naira for basic reasons. I think the 20 naira note, 500 naira note, 1,000 naira note, and I think it's just 4 notes. We're going to redesign it. Then, of course, Nigerians as they are came out and started ranting and making a lot of noise about it.
So the interesting thing, I always thought the redesign was a good news.
Okay.
It's actually a good idea when you think about it. It's very good. But you know what happened? Something I didn't think of. This is probably why I'm not into day trading or anything, because I didn't think of. Well, I just thought about the obvious consequence of the policy. But you know what those guys do? Those guys that make like decisions and invest money, that they think of. They actually think of the unintended consequence, which actually makes them a better trader. So, like, if I've heard that news, which I did, I heard the news early before time, right? My idea would have been, oh, this might be good for the naira, but technically it was a really bad thing in terms of short term for the naira, because what happened was people had a lot of naira that they have to get rid of now. Probably they had it illegally or something like that in cash. So now they had to. The better option for them was to go and sell it for dollars, right? So there were a lot of people trying to sell out their naira. Yeah, so that like drove the price up, just crashed the price of the naira. But I was like, what is happening? Until I was like, shit, I get it now.
Yeah, so of course it's going to have short-term consequences like that, and I think it just happens that those people just happen to just be on the bad side of it. I think the major people that are targeting are those people funding terrorism, and those that probably have gotten a lot of huge money from ransoms of kidnapping and blah blah blah. So imagine you've gotten like a huge chunk of money now. I think don't just spread that money in your hand. So now they're saying that you have to go and turn the money back to the bank. Yeah. So it's a way of controlling and tracking. And I think that the guy actually made some valid points. That's the Godwin Emefiele, CBN governor, saying that I think said that we have like 3 point something trillion naira that they've printed out, and like almost like 70% of it is not actually moving around. So
the point I was making was that like 70% of the money supply is actually not in the vaults of the banks.
Yes.
Which is interesting.
Yes.
A lot of Nigeria hold cash. Probably a lot of politicians hold cash.
When you think about 70% of like 3 point something trillion, that's a lot of money. So that's like that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
Most of
I suspect majority of them will be politicians. And probably the money all these guys have gotten, this Boko Haram and these terrorist guys have gotten.
And you know the way they used to judge is like, okay, so the CBN knows how much they've printed over time, right?
Yeah.
So they know how much is illegal money circulation. Then they also know how much the banks have in their vaults, right? Because the banks have keep their money with them. Or the banks will have to report it. But they don't even know how much in terms of fake money are actually in circulation. So that's 70%. It's not even just 70% of what they know. There is also 70% of
the actually fake currency moving around.
That people don't know that are actually fake, that are moving around. So it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of
That's
money.
why the inflation is crazy, guys.
But I think one of the major reasons is doing that is to curb inflation. I think he said that in his interview.
Yeah.
Well, how do you think it's going to work? It's going to work out?
To curb inflation, it's not going to do much, really.
Most people say that too.
Yeah, it's not going to do much. It's like, except they can find a way to reduce the money circulation. This is not going to reduce the money circulation, really. I mean, not that much.
I think maybe his idea. He's probably thinking that if they could get just the money back and not sweep them back, it's be difficult to actually get money out of the banks, which is what somebody was pointing out to me. It's won't be as easy to actually get money out of banks again.
Yeah, it's not easy to get money out of banks. Interesting.
In that it took them how many years to print out this particular money you're talking about? So they actually have to be like.
Doesn't take them that long to print out the money now. And now, I told you that like during the pandemic, they printed out double the. Basically, cost them nothing to print money. They printed out double the money supply just within that period of time. So it's like, they are printing money like it's paper. So money is paper, anyways. Yeah.
Governments do that basically, but then it ends up being a bad idea in the long term. But in the short term, it looks like a very good thing, at least for people that kind to.
And this should give people this idea, like people have to realize that money is not real. Is what I was trying to say.
Money is not real.
Yeah. Because it's like if you work your whole life for something someone else somewhere can print an infinite amount, then you should think twice about that. You get? It's like, you need to think twice about that. It's not to say like money does not matter, but like, damn, you should really give you some perspective about money. Yeah.
Basically, money is basically a form of exchange of value in some sense. So money does not matter.
What matters? Value.
No. I'm trying to understand your money does not matter because in that you get to exchange value and they get to give you a currency like that. Basically, is synonymous to what value you are giving in some sense. But I think I get your point. The point of But the someone is just the government. Like not as though anybody I can just ask the I basically just print money in infinite amounts. Governments are not do that. Money does not matter.
It's not that money doesn't matter, it's that the money is not real.
Okay, money is not real.
Yes. It's fake. It's all fake. And it's like so when you realize this, is that like it basically gives you perspective to say that like the money you think you have is actually not enough. In terms of like it is all fake, like it's all worthless. So you have to even have more of these worthless notes.
Okay.
you get what I mean? It's like what's this guy that was showing me the picture of these bank notes of this Naira note that was like this like it's up to billions of Naira and stuff like that. Most people like till they die, they will never have made that amount of money. But even if you are able to make that amount of money, it's still like just look at it.
Okay.
Someone's trying to get rid of it because now someone wants to design it, and by the next day that the old cash will be useless. It's like doesn't that give you a bit that like this shit that you work for all your life again can just be deprecated? It's like someone will just be like, nah, this thing is not more valid, we'll not accept it again. It's like damn. It makes you think about like your finances and like how actually solid you are. You know. Interesting, sure.
Solid in respect of basically. So if I understand the money is not real idea, so then what's the alternative? Like if you had to say that okay, don't spend my money because of the way it's can easily be depleted.
You don't want to. You don't want to do what?
No, I'm saying that if we had to say that, okay, money is not real in the sense that I understand the argument of the government and all able to replicate and everything.
Yeah.
So what then is the alternative? Consolation in some sense.
The alternative. There are a lot of alternatives. Just think about it. Yeah. You're going to just basically think about what money is, because that will definitely help you in terms of like understanding what money is. Think.
I'll probably spend time thinking about it this week. There are kind of things in life that you probably just think that you probably have thought about it very well, but then you've not really thought about it. You just probably assume that just with no definition. So I'll probably spend time thinking about it this week. Money is not real.
At least the current form of money we have. Before, the way fiat currency worked was that they would...
For our viewers that doesn't know what fiat currency, what's fiat currency?
So basically, before fiat currency, there was actual money. So what happened was that literally, you would have a certain amount of gold. The bank would be required to have a certain amount of gold in the bank. Then they would issue you like these paper notes, which were basically just receipts for actual gold or silver or precious things that people actually had value, right? Because when you think of, if I bring out a Naira note or a dollar note now, what is it? It's basically just paper.
Yeah.
Right? How do you think they were able to convince the mass to just accept paper as value, right? It was basically an ICU. It was like a receipt to get something valuable.
Yeah.
Right? So like what happened was in 1971 or so, that's when the gold standard was destroyed. I don't even remember the president of the US then. But essentially, because after World War II, right, a lot of countries agreed that the US would be the reserve currency in terms of like the US would be able to keep their gold.
Standard, yeah.
Because basically the US had they still have now the biggest military and everything like that. So because what would happen then was like when Germany invaded the country, right, is they would invade the central bank and take all their goods, right? So essentially the European countries will ship their goods to the US and keep it in the central bank. You know that's like the safest place they could have their good then when instead of another time just reading their country and getting all their gold. Right, so the US had a lot of goods of other countries, right? So during the Vietnam War and a lot of other wars, US were funding the wars and stuff like that. So like I think the French were becoming suspicious of the amount of gold the US actually had
already,
based on what they've printed, right? So they were now demanding like for them to get some of their gold back in terms of okay, we'll give you this paper dollar and you give us our gold and stuff like that. So they wanted refunds and stuff like that. I know that's kind of like a bank run, but bank run on the larger scale, on the global scale in terms of like when a country wants their gold back now, another one wants their gold back. So it's like it becomes like this bank run of we don't actually have your gold. Anyways, so what happened was the US president then suspended the convertibility of dollar to gold. Just suspended it. So that's when the fiat currency actually like became a thing in terms of like why you trust this dollar note is not because we actually have enough gold. It's just because you trust the US government to be able to keep the economy running. You get, so that's what fiat is. Basically what fiat is, fiat I think is a Greek word called trust.
Okay.
Right? Basically money built on trust. So if you basically lack trust in who's issuing that note, then the money becomes useless. So yeah.
Interesting.
So that's where things like crypto and some digital currency come in and be like, okay, if fiat currency is based on trust, then we can have an algorithm that would enforce like a minimum or a maximum supply in terms of nobody can inflate away. That's where Bitcoin came from. In terms of like they cannot be a max, you can't just print more Bitcoin. It's fixed. And if people assign value to it, then we know that like it's going to be like a digital gold in some sense. It's even better than a digital gold because it's easily divisible. In terms of like you can't easily divide. Why we didn't use gold as currency was because like it's so hard to move, it's costly to move and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So and you can't easily use it as barter to move to for transactions and stuff like that. But I think that's what digital currencies are trying to solve, sure.
To your point, the old Bitcoin stuff that you can't really print the way government makes stuff the economy by actually printing more money. Because if you think about when you think about the features or one of the factors of money, it was scarcity then.
Right.
The moment it's everywhere, it loses its value. The moment it's like print and it just makes it very, very worthless in some sense.
True. True. Scarcity is a very big point of money. But
what are you going to say about what?
Is this scarcity? Yeah. That there are a lot of things, just like how gold was scarce, right? In terms of like, it wasn't still enough for it to be like the monetary system. In terms of like, you have to have scarcity, you have to have being able to transfer it in a cost-effective way, and it's being very divisible in terms of being able to spend it. Like there are multiple capacities you have to be money. You get for it to use you as transaction. Why Bitcoin is not even used as money again? Because it has a lot of capacity, but it does not have. I think the speed.
Okay, time it takes to
move the money and
is this same thing with all digital currencies or just Bitcoin?
No, a lot of them just have different. So there's this stuff they call the trilemma.
Okay.
In the blockchain space where it's like you have to be decentralized in terms of like, because what is the point of someone can just start a database and assign like PayPal or something like that and like get your own currency, but like nobody trusts you to not steal my money and stuff like that. Okay. So the advantage of Bitcoin and blockchain is that like nobody can actually steal your money. Like if you basically lose your keys, nobody can have access to it anymore. Your money is gone, right? So that's the idea of decentralized. It should be decentralized. Then it should be scalable in terms of like it can process a lot of transactions. If I want to send you money, it can process transaction. Then the third one is what's the third trilemma? What is it? Decentralization, scalability, and
I have no idea. I'm not a Bitcoin person.
Well, anyways, the point is that like it's very hard to have a balance of those three issues. And security. All right. Security is the last one. Which means it must be secured. And security and decentralization they're very linked. Because the more decentralized it is, the more secure it's most likely going to be. Scalability is a very big one. Because when you start being scalable, sometimes you lose your decentralization. So you have to have a balance of these three to really be this for blockchain, sir. But like I feel like for you to even be an acceptable form of money, the blockchain needs to have these three features down.
That's scalability, security, and decentralization.
Yeah, and decentralization. It's trilemma of blockchain.
So for the when you think about speed as regards Bitcoin, can it get better? Or that's just what
is it Bitcoin?
As regards the speed you're talking about,
for Bitcoin particularly, or for blockchain in general.
Bitcoin.
So for example, for Bitcoin now, like the way it is now, like it can't be faster.
It can't be faster.
It's not even can't be faster. So the selling point of Bitcoin is that like someone can't just go and change the code. You get, so if someone goes and change the code like that, it's basically saying, the code that states that like 21 million Bitcoin can only be mined. That's not actually the way it's stated. The way they just do is they half the rewards every 4 years and so like that. So when you estimate it, basically amounts to like that $21, 21 million Bitcoins, right?
Bitcoins.
So I think what people are treating Bitcoin as is not money now. They're treating it as digital gold.
Okay.
In terms of like, you can't really use it for a day-to-day transaction, but you can basically what they're trying to build is a network, a layer 2 scaling solution, where you can actually now be using Bitcoin. It will be fast.
Okay.
Then Bitcoin will be the base layer you get.
Okay.
Bitcoin will be this archaic old technology where people just store their values, basically like a store of value. Then there's a second layer where people can use it for transactions and stuff like that.
Okay.
So they don't touch the first layer because changing anything is kind of tricky. You have to get all the people that run the node. It's decentralized to actually agree to change stuff. So what people do is that they will break out, they'll create a fork of the blockchain. That's why you have Dogecoin. Dogecoin is actually a fork of the Bitcoin blockchain. Litecoin was a fork of Bitcoin, and Dogecoin was a fork of
Litecoin.
So is it Litecoin? Yeah, Litecoin. Was it Litecoin? Something like that. But anyways, all of them are kind of like derivative of Bitcoin.
Same with Ethereum.
No. Ethereum is unique.
It's a unique system.
Unique. Or it's a different blockchain on its own. It's not like a fork of anything. They like built it from scratch. But then a lot of other blockchains are now like fork of Ethereum.
So what's the major difference between like Ethereum and Bitcoin?
Yeah, so the major difference is that you can't run code on Bitcoin. Ethereum is basically like a decentralized server, basically like a decentralized AWS, where I can actually deploy smart contracts and it can run code for me.
Huh.
Right? So
Hence the what's this thing called? This store power selling. What are guys selling on Ethereum now?
What is that? NFTs.
NFTs, yes.
Oh yeah.
You count that on Bitcoin.
Right, you can't do that. Probably on Andalia, but you can't do it on Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is just where you have the coins and stuff, and you can only use them for transactions. But you can actually deploy contracts on them.
So the major reason is that you can run code on Ethereum. You can personalize it. That way I run code.
That you can actually deploy, like you can basically, it's like contracts, right? You can put contracts on the blockchain and have it executed on your behalf.
Okay.
And nobody can actually stop it from being executed. It's like if you write something and deploy it, set it to do something, it can never be stopped. Essentially, It's going to be deployed.
It can never be stopped.
Yeah, kind of. Except you want to stop the whole blockchain.
The whole blockchain.
Except you want to bring down the whole Ethereum. You get it's like it's going to be run.
Okay.
Yes.
Huh. That's interesting. What's it about this gas price I keep hearing?
Gas prices.
Ethereum? Yeah.
Ethereum. And so I think that's one of the issues with so with Ethereum. Let's say Ethereum is decentralized. It's kind of secure, but it's not really scalable. So it does not meet that last trilemma of what we are talking about in terms of like, it's kind of slow. And since there's
as slow as
there's
Bitcoin,
a lot of,
as slow as Bitcoin.
It's a bit faster than Bitcoin.
Okay, but it's slow.
Yeah. So since a lot of transaction, they have a lot of volume. So what happens is that like let's say now we have 10 people here trying to get their transaction through, right?
Yeah.
So what they will do is like everybody will submit the gas fee they are willing to pay. And if someone is willing to submit a gas fee higher than everybody else, his own transaction is going to be picked first. So what happens is that people that want to process their transaction faster and have money, we are going to pay higher gas fees to get their transaction through. Something like that. So that's where the higher gas fee comes from.
Most of the time, the gas fee is even higher than the transaction even run in itself.
Yeah, exactly. Because the gas fee system it does not take into account, like, how do I put it now? It depends. So depends on the data you're trying to move through. I think the gas fee is estimated based on. So when you want to deploy a contract, now it depends on how big the contract is and the volume or the what is it called? The usage of the network at that point in time. For regular transactions, the prices are kind of similar. But to move data across is kind of, because executing a transaction is just it's a generic kind of, what is it called? It's a generic kind of transaction. While like something like deploying a contract is a bit different, because the contract might be different. One might be bigger, one might be smaller, that kind of thing. One might require higher storage and stuff.
Interesting.
All right.
So I think I met someone that I think I told you about someone that was like, oh, he's a crypto bro. He's a, normally I'm not a crypto fan that much. So I was not like, okay, so what's your portfolio? And it was like Dogecoin. I was like, so what do you think about that? I don't know. It's all meme coins. Because a lot of people just do this for fun, but why can't you take it serious and put a lot of money there?
So there are people that basically live on the blockchain now. They make money on the blockchain.
Live on the blockchain, what does that mean?
Yeah. So literally they are all finance. Not just as we were talking about the fiat system, right? Yeah. They don't live on the fiat system again. Like, so literally they earn their money in a particular coin and they spend with that particular coin. And let's say they just have to be just small in terms of in their fiat currency to spend in their daily life, but their finances are literally not with you guys on the fiat here where it's inflating to death. They are holding something different. People like that.
Okay. People like that are holding Doge.
So they can.
I thought Doge was like a fun, was just for fun.
It can be a trade play, right? Like if you think it's going to move in terms of like, if you are convinced that it's not like I'm not people like that, they might be holding it in terms of they feel like it's going to do well financially. So I have a friend that just bought Doge actually, and he used it because he knew Elon Musk was about to purchase Twitter, and he made a lot of money there. So that was a good play for him. I didn't even think about it. I was not thinking of Doge. Well, it's nice I thought about that in terms of like it was saying that something was going to happen and you knew that Doge was going. So it's basically like a trade play in terms of like you feel this treat it as like a stock. You feel it's going to move up and you buy and stuff like that. Oh. I'm not sure they literally hold Doge and use it as some sort of you get currency.
Asset or investments.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Long term.
Yeah. No,
this guy like that he does.
Who's that?
Philip. I told you about him.
Oh, makes sense.
It was like I'm an investor, I'm a crypto investor. I'm like, okay, so
Dogecoin investor.
Okay, let's move on to. So I know you have a lot to say about this Kanye West controversy, but then kicking him off Instagram and Twitter.
Did you kick Kanye off Twitter? I think he's back now, Abi.
Is he back? I don't think he's back yet.
Okay. So what did Kanye do? Kanye is back now.
He's back on Twitter now.
Yeah, I know Elon Musk brought him back.
Okay, it was actually restored before Elon bought Twitter. Twitter said he locked out his account due to violation of Twitter's policy. Twitter's policy, basically. I think basically, there's a lot of drama, but I think just tweeted that. I think he specifically said, "I'm be sleeping tonight. When I wake up, I'm going to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people."
Okay. Are you saying what Kanye did? Okay,
that made him banned now. You said that why was he banned?
Okay, yeah.
So they, of course, and that's okay. Basically, I said I'm a bit sleepy tonight. When I wake up, I'm going to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people.
Yeah.
And of course, Twitter has some set of policies that forbids hate speech and all. So they consider that to be an hate speech. Then they didn't even ban him. They just temporarily blocked his account for a while.
Okay.
So
what is hate speech?
What is hate speech?
Yeah.
That's offensive discourse targeting a group or an individual based on their inherent characteristics, race, religion, sexual orientation, and gender and all. So specifically, this is an hate speech. There's not even an argument whether or not it's an hate speech. It's very clear an hate speech.
That what Kanye said was hate speech.
Yes, now.
But do you know what DEFCON means?
It's actually meant to be DEFCON, not DEFCON. DEFCON.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what it means? I know he made a typo there.
Yeah.
DEFCON. So it's literally
okay.
Basically, DEFCON. What he meant there, he made
what it meant.
Yeah.
What Kanye meant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because what DEFCON is basically to take on a defensive strategy. So it's literally not. It was trying to be like, I'm going to take DEFCON, and DEFCON is the defensive readiness condition in an alert state used by the United States Air Force. So literally, what he was trying to do was essentially.
What do you think he was trying to do?
That's exactly what it meant now.
Okay.
And it's ridiculous that it's considered hate speech because it's not hate speech.
Okay.
He typed it wrong. DEFCON. It's actually DEFCON. That's what it meant.
Yeah.
Which actually means to get into a defensive position.
Against a particular set of very interesting why that's not hate speech.
Yeah. And it's not. How can that be considered hate speech? And the problem with hate speech is that who defines it? Who defines what is hate speech?
Who defines what is hate speech?
Yeah. Who defines what is hate speech?
I say in the context of this Twitter issue, normally who defines what is hate speech?
Hate
speech is very, very clear. An offensive discourse targeting a set of people, whether it's based on their characteristics, their race, religion, and blah, blah, blah.
That's the problem, because who defines what is offensive?
That's the ambiguity that actually comes, and the noise that actually comes in this kind of discourse itself.
But so you can't make something like that a rule, because it's like, who wants to define? Because anything can be offensive, right? Depending on who sees it as offensive. So the issue with things like hate speech and stuff like that, and that's why it's actually, for example, in the US now, hate speech is not in the law or anything, because it's very vague.
It's very
hate speech is like
yes.
But such is the nature of all these things.
Which things?
What is not? But do you now see that what Kanye said was not hate speech?
Do I now see?
Okay, first he didn't say DEFCON, right? He said DEFCON.
No, he said DEFCON, not DEFCON.
Yeah.
The issue is that
what is the issue?
So the challenge is that, because if you'd followed up to send pre-interviews that I had done after that, I think this guy interviewed him like Friedman, or you'd. So
You saw
the interview, yes. So a lot of people would
it started. So I just remember something in the podcast where he was like, don't say things like that. Don't say things like Jewish media. The guy was like, JM.
Okay, don't say things like what? Like what?
Like Jewish media.
Yeah.
The guy was like, JM.
It's fine.
But it's funny.
But I think to your point, and there's a lot of nuance and ambiguity when it comes to defining things like that. Like you said, what is this to what I find offensive, probably not what you find offensive. I understand a lot of nuance and Jewish. I say Jewish. A lot of nuance and ambiguity when it comes to stuff like that and all. They love nuance to it. That's
so. One of my favorite reactions to Kanye was this woman, and
which woman is that?
Forgotten. Someone was interviewing her, and she was like, "Why do you think people are so offended by what other people see and what other people think?" I think she was saying something about because they themselves are easily manipulated by what other people think. So it's like what other people think gets them on edge because they themselves are easily manipulated by it. So she was like, for example, now she does not care about Kanye. So what he says does not offend her in any way. She does not care about him in general. So it's like what he says.
No, okay, continue.
Yeah, finish.
No, I don't think the issue is not about. Okay, what she's saying is making a lot of sense to me in some extent. But then when you think about it, when I say what you don't care, you don't get offended because you don't care about what Kanye says. But the truth is that it's not about you. It's about some set of. So for example, now throughout history, there's no that race that Kanye really target and gone through a lot of things. Probably maybe Islam, maybe the Muslims.
That's wrong. It's
No,
almost like
I'm saying,
okay, you're saying than the Jews, right? Is that what the point you're
I'm
trying
saying
to
that
make?
they've gone through a lot of anti-Semitism. Like when you think about Adolf Hitler's and the whole stuff that they did to them.
First,
like
first.
it all started. Basically just started with this Jewish. I feel that to Leximan's point when he was interviewing Kanye, if you have an issue with a particular person, you're going to meet the person. It's not to just say, just like saying the way they say Africans.
I agree with that.
So
that's definitely.
So when you say that there's Jewish media, there's people that are controlling the media and they are Jews, and it doesn't.
I get this point.
It just feeds to some assholes that really have that kind of. Kanye may not even have necessarily meant that, but just feed some assholes that just probably just have that biasing and like So,
but is it wrong?
It's wrong. What is it? Kanye?
It's kind of wrong.
No, like I said, if you're saying wrong, there's a lot of nuance in it. But I'm saying that
wrong, I mean, is it wrong in terms of like? So it's claimed that Jewish media. Is it wrong that if we pick out the top 100, let's say, news organization in the US, and you find out that 97 or 94% are run by Jews, is that a wrong statement to make, or is that a wrong something to note?
I don't understand.
Or would that not be true?
If it is the case that majority of the media platform are actually owned by Jews.
Yeah. So the issue with this is first, I don't like when people like identity, like people are also obsessed,
Identity
especially
politics.
in the US.
Yeah.
They're also obsessed with identity, right? Okay, I'm Jewish, I'm your religious identity, your color, and everything like
I'm
that.
black,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So everything like it's ridiculous, like why people choose to identify that way, right? But it's like if you then choose to identify that way, and you try to group yourself in that way, like that's what people see in everything they look at, right? So if people are like, oh, I'm Jewish and something like that, and if people figure out that, okay, yes, I've had an encounter with you, and I found out that the similar things you guys have in common is that, let's say, you identify as some way, and you guys have treated me this way, I can then use the stereotype to be like, okay, it's all Jews. I feel like the identity itself is the problem.
You know, to your point, I think I agree with that. I agree with that. There's a lot of identity politics there.
But this is the issue with Kanye is that a lot of people dismiss what he says, but nobody has looked into it to be like, oh, is this true? Is there something interesting here to look at? Because that would be an interesting thing to know.
Whether or not majority of the news organizations are run by
not
Jews.
Even news, I think. So, not even news.
Media organizations.
Yeah. So, media, music, film, Hollywood. It's crazy. But it's kind of triggering to be like, oh, they're all Jews, and it kind of feeds into, it's like, the people are like, stop, don't talk about it.
There's a reason why they're like that, because you know when you're not in the receiving end, I think that it's kind of wrong to actually say whatever he feels like saying. No, of course, he can say whatever he feels like saying. There's freedom to, I can say what the fuck he feels like saying. But I feel that at a particular point in time, there are things that best out of words. Actions come out. For example, now there's some assholes that just need to just hear Kanye just saying that, and they will be like, Kanye may not necessarily even mean it in an evil way. He may probably just, like you said, point out a fact or so. But there are definitely some assholes that probably.
But what you're talking about is, let's say, people.
I'm saying the impact of speech.
Yeah.
So when you group the Jewish media. It fits some assholes that probably put that believe in American exceptionalism, all those guys in the extreme side. They probably just
what
start
does
attacking.
American exceptionalism have to do with
No, I'm saying what I'm saying that there's some particular set of people that don't believe that, especially in America, I forget what they call themselves. They are like, we are the black. That same thing happened during the Midlast time when they were actually murdering Jews. They blamed the Jews for a lot of things, and they were like, oh, they're better over them. There are some people that actually believe that, and then they begin to attack people that they say as Jews or people that are actually Jews. So I feel that, of course, it can say what I feel like saying, but the impact of when he groups and says the Jewish media, or he says the Jews are trying to stop him from saying what he said, are trying to prevent him from saying his words, or the way he used it. I just feel like he could have just attacked, if like what Lefina said, oh, this guy, he could be a Jew, but then you don't. It's more what is more like you feel that they are like that because they are Jews, and attacking him because they are Jews, as opposed to the particular person in itself. So I feel that when it comes to talking about identity politics, like you said, to your point, I tend to agree on that. But I feel that for a set of a race that actually gone through a lot of killing and murder, it's not safe. Which is what I think what happened. The backlash that actually came to Kanye because of the impact of his words. And you notice that after he said that, there were a lot of people that actually came out like, oh, Jesus, these are the assholes we're talking about, that this kind of speech is going to be spoiling and jeering and encouraging on. Okay, say Elon Musk just acquired them Twitter. That's a win for it.
So Twitter. You know the weird thing about Twitter is, So I don't use Twitter. Maybe we just talk about it. I don't use Twitter. I never liked the way it worked.
What do you like about Twitter specifically?
Yeah. What I don't like about Twitter is Twitter. So it's like the whole method of. I don't like the whole method of. I don't like the way the platform works. It's not just for me. Yeah, Twitter is not a. I don't like it.
No. So
Not even
there are a lot of
because
people
Elon
that.
Musk bought it. Even after I bought it, I don't think I'll use it. I can't just.
No, there are a lot of people that find Twitter is happens to be one of the most toxic platforms, like social media platforms. Like,
I didn't even find it toxic or anything. Like other.
So what's your issue?
Are more toxic. I don't just like the form of communication. Like reading text is not just my thing.
oh,
It's boring.
okay.
It's apart from the text is probably part of it, but it's like I can't just. It's not something I can be using. YouTube is my main platform that I really use. Right, because I like video.
Oh, you prefer learning via video or assuming information via
Yeah,
video?
probably.
No, it's Twitter. I said Twitter. Elon just acquired Twitter. I think for 44 billion, which was outrageous because if I'm sure that if you had known that the market was going to be this bad, you'll have just waited it out and just. But they wanted to get off the deal, but you could not get off the deal because they already signed the binding contract and all blah blah. He acquired Twitter. I think what he's trying to do now is trying to change the business model of Twitter, which I like, which I think I've spoken about before. He's trying to go into subscription, which is quite smart. But I know I've been seeing people the people are taking it that it's not good. It's not in a good way. But then what matters about it is that you don't know how you need everybody for it to work. Just like 2% of people just subscribe to Twitter. Like for them, it doesn't really need like majority of them. Twitter basically has a shitty business model. They've been here. See about Twitter. Twitter has been here since like forever, and they've still not figured out the way to make money.
Yeah.
Like it's just a shitty business. It's a very good product, but a very shitty business.
They had ads, right?
So funny enough about it that like 87 to 90% of their revenue comes from advertisements, and I think 13 from licensing. So majority of the license, which is what the challenge Elon Musk is already having now. They have like almost 90% of their revenues coming from ads and 13 from licensing. Now he wants to shift to subscription. There's already egging out the advertiser. Another like no advertiser normally now. Normal this left guy and all those. They are because you say free speech and all. So the challenge about is that so of course when he got in he had to fire some guys. Like I think almost like 50% of the workforce. Which is actually a very smart decision because think about it. Twitter is not making. I think he was talking about it yesterday that they are losing like 4 million every day.
Oh, okay.
That's terrible. Like so he's trying to cut the. They have like 7,500. Like, what the fuck are you using? Like, you're not making any money. Like, what the fuck are you like? You're not even making money.
The employees are kind of just like a waste of space.
Yes, now Jackie came out to say it yesterday, saying that because of course he had to talk because Elon Musk because like 60% of the workforce was like that he apologized that he actually grew the company too fast that he shouldn't have hired that much people. That about like ridiculous. Yeah. So Elon Musk trying to cut the bleeding. But then there's now this debate because Elon Musk is like a free speech guy. So there's now this because of course. For him to actually be able to pull off his free speechism, he definitely has to move away from advertising. He definitely. And do you know why he has to move away from advertising?
Why?
Because advertisers, free speech is a very good idea. But when it comes to including free speech to a business that is social media, it does not work.
Why doesn't it work?
Why doesn't it work is that when Elon Musk says that, or when anybody says that you want anyone to just say whatever they want, whatever they think, it's a good idea. But then when you're running ads, you don't want you to appear next a shitty post about racism or anything. It's called brand safety. It's a thing actually. It's called brand safety.
I just think that's like really bullshit in terms of like first the idea of free speech is not that you can say everything you want. Like literally, it's not. You can't just say anything you want in the general sense. In terms of like, if it's unlawful, then you can't say anything you want. But for us to set arbitrary rules in terms of like we're going to censor this particular thing that is not within the law, then that's fine. But free speech is the idea that you can actually say what you want, but you can't say illegal things. Let's say, for example, incitement to violence now we consider it illegal. Based on the law. So the idea is to drop any kind of biased political like policies or any other kind of policies that are just social in some sense, that are like just the complaint based. So you can imagine the guys who were running Twitter now, they had their own ideology and what they leaned into. And that's what their policy was based on. So if they drop all that like and they just leave. So basically what Elon Musk wants to do with Twitter is make it sort of like a town square, right? Like literally, you've seen all these videos of people going on campus and doing like free speech debate or any kind of those kind of stuff. Have you seen all those videos?
Yeah, I've seen.
Essentially, it be something like that. But you can't just go there now and say because you have free speech, you can like incite people to violence, or you can like say like defamation now is something under the law that can be punishable. Like is the idea that like you keep it in terms of like it's a town square, you can say what you want, but you can't like do let's say online harassment or stuff like that. But any other kind of thing is not allowed. Just banning people based on like some ridiculous thing will not be allowed. But like to say that advertisers will not, advertisers go anywhere where there's attention and they can get money.
No,
Those
actually,
what is it called?
So of course
those what is it called? Virtual signaling and all those the virtual signaling and stuff like that is bullshit. If a place has attention, where there's attention, the money will go. So this stuff where they don't want to see all those things, they're just trying to cater to where all those people now that are like they're trying to cater to those people that will not cancel them. And those people are really the minority when you think about it. Those people that really want to, most people don't care, and most people.
Why the most people?
Like most people, the general public, the general people
don't care about what?
Like they don't want to like go on and cancel someone because of like, all those black. They don't. But the few minority that wants to do that.
What are you talking about? We're talking about
like if Elon Musk can get Twitter, like people to me, I don't use Twitter, so yeah, good luck to him. But like if he can get people to like use the platform and they have a lot of users and he can get rid of all those bots. And mainly all those people that are trolling on game, most of it are bots and stuff like that. Probably the advertisers they're afraid of like losing their revenue and money.
Do you know what brand safety is?
Yeah. You think okay, continue.
No,
so
it's not what I think.
It's not okay.
Okay. I'm not. It's not what I think.
Theory is not correct.
It's not a theory. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not a theory.
Well, it will be proved wrong. Yeah, we'll see.
It's not okay. It's not a theory in the sense that last week I think the community of advertisers, I said like 3 or so. Elon Musk met with them. Wait, let me finish now.
Yeah.
They don't pay the money now. They're advertisers. So if for example now, if I sell whatever I sell, you always want the amount of money the amount of money that brands spend on building their reputation. When it comes to when they are paying for online advertising, they would definitely not want their ads to come to show up on anything that has to do with controversy. It doesn't matter whether you're on left or on the right. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They don't want their ads to be on maybe a conspiracy theory. They don't want that kind of stuff.
Why would their ads show up on a conspiracy theory?
Why would their ads show up on a conspiracy theory?
Yeah.
Because that was going to happen if it's less guarded and more of a speech kind of stuff.
So to even say that advertisers don't like controversy is weird, because controversy is what generates the attention. So for example, I remember when they banned Tate, right? And yeah. And like it was saying that the amount of advertisers that have come to him, because he's a car guy, right? He has Ferraris and all those kind of stuff. So the amount of all those companies that were like, guy, like we'll give you like a free car to just like basic controversy everything. So if I go to Twitter now, and this is probably why I like Twitter. If you go to Twitter now and just go to the hashtag of trending, the top 100 trending thing is a controversial topic.
Of course,
everything is controversial. It's not like I feel like advertisers see all those advertisers that. I know you were saying something about it was a community of advertisers and stuff like that. All those advertisers that unionize and like want to use their power to, let's say, control the way a platform is run and stuff like that. I know Elon Musk. Eventually, like if they say, "Oh, you have to do,"
that's why he wants to take a major of revenue from advertising, which is a very good thing in the first place.
And stuff like that.
Which is really good.
Yes, once let's say he's able to make money in subscription stuff like that, the advertising is going to go like this, going to plummet, because what has happened is that Twitter has enabled all those guys to come in coalition and be like they take their policy. So it'll be like, oh, we are the community of advertisers, and let's say there's this particular issue, let's say trans issue now, for example, now, and there's an activist within this that can infiltrate that organization and be like, they will force Twitter in terms of like, let's say, those things where they will say they would, what is it when they will say they will not buy your product? There's a term they use for it.
They will not what?
Buy your product, in terms of like, we'll dox you. Is it dox or where they will attack a brand?
Oh yeah.
That's mainly what they are afraid of. And all those activists are very good at it. So what they've done is they've basically held Twitter. I'm not sure they held Twitter or because Twitter they are complicit.
Some of them will make Twitter that. Even though Twitter makes 90% of their revenue on advertising.
Yeah.
Twitter is like, if you have to look at
what Facebook's make and other guys.
Like it's as low as with Reddit. They don't make
exactly.
People that they don't really make that much money.
Yeah. So I feel like okay, this is why I like Elon Musk and he's smart in terms of like he's not trying to. He's going to make money now. He's not trying to go through the advertising route, which is good, because if not, it will be at those stage and he will not be able to fulfill what his real mission is. Because if he wants to make money, right, and he wants to do it through advertisement, he would have to compromise on his free speech agenda.
Yes.
Without compromise on that. But now that if you can successfully do a subscription, which
he has started pivoting to that already.
Yes, I think
which is a smart thing. It's potentially smart.
Then we'll have the freedom to be able to do what he wants, and eventually, I think so. These are his advertisement to go right. It's a plummet like this. Then eventually, steadily over the next 5 years, I don't even know if they can do it.
I don't think they
can. I don't know how important Twitter is to people, but. So if it's that important, it's going to grow over the next 5 years. Advertisement to come back. I don't think they should do. So I feel like the way Instagram and Facebook does is that a lot of individuals do ads, right? That's where the majority of their money is coming from. No, I don't understand how Twitter.
No. Individuals can do ads on Twitter, but when you look at revenue of advertising, it's majority of big companies doing ads.
Big
That's where the money is, not from individual doing ads. On Twitter, on Instagram and YouTube, and it's companies that they're like B2B kind of stuff.
They do a lot of big business.
I think.
But I would love to know if I see it on it, because a lot of individuals do ads. Most of the ads I see on my Instagram, my individuals.
Think about it this way. Go statistics. Most companies spend like 40% of their revenue on marketing.
Yeah.
So that's how huge.
Does that mean they spend it all on ads?
No, I'm saying they spend.
Or
majority of the advertising now is less print and more online now. So majority of it is on your line, in your line space. So I don't know. Of course, less of it's going to come to Twitter, because I think I was reading about it this week. Do you know the most? This is funny about the toxicity of Twitter. Do you know the most regulated social media ever?
Yeah. What is it? Twitter.
It's like TikTok.
Okay.
And you know the company, the company that is taking majority of all the whole advertising share now. TikTok.
Have TikTok started doing ads?
They are doing ads now. They are doing ads.
They are doing ads.
They are doing ads.
I know they sent me a message that they want to enroll me on one of their.
They are taking so if you combine Twitter and Snap together, like TikTok just came like 2019 or so, like 3 years ago or so.
Yeah.
And Twitter has been 2011 or something. I think Snapchat like they are taking.
The thing with TikTok is that like TikTok, they are really doing well.
It's not.
So
TikTok's a very
one of my guys
fun
just told me,
and very like.
Yeah. One of my guys just told me that like people use TikTok for search engine now more than they use Google. I was shocked.
Yes.
Like, is that true?
Yes.
So it's like
I was reading the news. I was reading a blog where it was saying that majority of Americans, of course not here, use like 40% of 30 to 40% of Americans actually use TikTok for news. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, they used to go on news.
Like what?
A lot of things. I just like, found out now, because me I actually blocked. I didn't really block my TikTok. I don't really use it. I only post on it. So it's just somewhere hidden. So I never actually use it for anything except when I want to upload something. I feel like it's good. Same thing to Instagram, and Twitter is not on my phone, of course. But the only social media open, yes, YouTube. I just know there's something about
video.
I'm just a YouTube guy. I don't know.
It's about video.
Video sharing. It's just I just like that content. Spend most of my time on YouTube at this point now. So hard to grow on YouTube. I feel like that's why the community of YouTube is actually strong, because like every guy I see like this, right? I know they spent like 1 or 2 years. Like they are not unlike TikTok where like someone blows in like 1 to 2 weeks.
2 weeks or 2 months.
On YouTube, you see people that have been growing their channels for 10 years, 5 years. Content is just different.
So the community is more deep.
Thoughtful. Yeah.
Come think of it. The time I can take for you to actually shoot a video, like like aside when you're watching a 1 hour content, can you imagine back what's it called? Back channel that I've done shooting videos. So I feel to your point, the community in YouTube is quite stronger. It's really strong. Really strong. I think I was thinking about it during the weekend. Hank Green, you know Hank Green?
Who is that?
Okay, you know John Green, the guy that wrote 40 My Stars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's his brother. The guy, both of them were the one that founded them VidCon.
Okay.
VidCon now, like YouTube's like conference.
No.
Okay, YouTube acquired. I don't think I think that's running it. I'm not sure, but YouTube acquired it from them. It's more like YouTube conference for like video creators, where they actually come together, and it's more like South by Southwest, but just for video creators. VidCon.
Makes sense.
Yeah, the community there is quite. They're tight.
Bitcoin.
VidCon.
Makes sense.
But basically, I think what Elon Musk has figured out already, which I think I like, is that his pivots to subscription is quite smart. But I think what he's saying they should do now, he's saying that people should pay $8 for a check mark.
Yeah,
which is cool.
Yeah. Not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea.
That's why you will not pay, and I feel like a lot of people lose it because the accounts are not.
A lot of people look like they are stupid. Most people, I've seen a lot of people going around that they can't pay for it. Blah, 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 blah.
Oh, yeah.
But try that. What matters is people that will pay for it, not people that add it and will not pay for it. If you've add something like you probably add blue check mark, you probably just feel like I don't know. I don't know. I feel it's going to be a little bit of a shit show, because in some sense I always felt the check mark was
blue check mark. Okay.
Yes, if they like everybody could have a different kind of check mark that was not blue, because look at it this way: the whole idea of a blue check mark, at least the way I see it, is that when I search for Avour or I search for anybody,
right,
I'm sure that this is the person. This is the actual person.
Yeah.
It's not a clone or a scammer or anything. But if we are paying for the check mark, how are we going to differentiate the actual person?
I mean, their policies are still going to be in place in terms of like the way you get it and the way they authenticate you to get it, but you still have to pay to get it, which is like the two kind of eligibility that actually makes sense in terms of like I like it actually, because what happens is that it will become more valuable, right?
Yes.
Because people are going to lose it and it's going to become more scarce and it's going to be cool. It's going to be good.
I think it's going to make a lot.
The truth is I don't even really care. That's why.
Because Twitter. No, that's how we'll talk about YouTube. Since that you're YouTube person. You're YouTube person.
Okay.
The real aspect of Twitter is basically just the user base. Because of course, this is what happens when you have a user base generated content in platform. When that the user are generating the
Okay.
the
Not just
platform.
if you follow, if you.
Not just if you not they are actually following someone like okay, for example, like YouTube now, their content creator I just go and watch.
Yeah.
But you Twitter, everybody generating content.
You know what I'm seeing about user generated content is that most platforms, even YouTube, I think eventually, a lot of user generated content. So what I've noticed that when YouTube start banning creators and stuff like that.
So if you release a song, I want to say our first podcast. You said you're going to be releasing a song every week.
Yeah, every week.
Yeah, I think I there's one I really like, the Fiery Arts.
The Fiery Art. I thought it was the when you get older you like.
No, I like them all, but then that's Fiery Arts just so deep. Like I don't.
Let's play
Fiery Arts.
something like that. Let's
play the Fiery Arts. Just touched me very, very deep and very.
Yeah, I get. A lot of people actually like it.
It's a very good song.
Can you hear it?
I can hear it.
You know what I should do?
I've got a fire in my heart, it's burning me down, I can't sleep. I sing my song to empty ears, the echoes come right back at me. One day I'm sure they'll know my name, they'll sing my song out loud so sweet.
A lot of people actually like it. You know the funny thing
Sing
is
it
that
now.
it's my second most streamed song on Spotify currently.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is funny because it was like the third I released, I think. And a lot of people say it's too short. It's about 2 minutes or something.
Yeah. I think the beauty about it is that it's very short.
Yeah. It's very short, and I think that was what I was trying to go for. I wanted people to be like, "Damn!" Like, it's too short,
I expected like two or three more verses. Just make it more like long.
Yeah. So it's give people like, yeah. A lot of people message me and like the song is too short, but I was like, even when I feel the song is too short.
No, the song actually is too short. I feel very hot. I feel very betrayed. I just put on repeat. Just keep on listening to it.
I get. Yeah, I feel like the song was made to be on repeat. So you guys can check it out. It's on Spotify.
Avour.
Very good.
I think that's Fiery Arts.
Yes.
And the lyrics are quite so, I don't know, so deep, and it sounds. I don't know what inspired you. Who's I think this particular artist sings like this.
Who is that?
I don't know. Ed Sheeran. He did a particular piece like this. I don't know this. The way he did the intro. That part where the kids were laughing and that part.
Oh yeah. Like this background sound.
The background, yeah.
Yeah, that gives it some kind of vibe. I don't even know how to add people to this live. Some people want to join. Okay, let's go into the day. You want to talk about Twitter, or is that what we are going first?
Let's do Twitter first. Let's do Twitter first. Twitter. I don't know. Most people like Twitter. I don't. Do you like Twitter, Favor?
Like, do I use Twitter?
No, I don't use Twitter.
I don't like Twitter. I don't use it.
Oh, okay, that's very interesting.
At all.
Why don't you like Twitter? Why don't you use Twitter?
Twitter too. Just the method of
of communication.
The method of communication. I don't like it. I don't go through it.
That's text. Okay. You're not a fan of going through like reading text and all.
God, no.
So what do you prefer over text?
Twitter
Audio?
is just the odd platform. Like, I think the platform I use all the time is just YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's something about YouTube that just like gets you. Just like because it takes time for people to build their YouTube. So like YouTube, the content they have there is like they take their time. Some people spend like a month creating like one YouTube video that's 15 minutes. So it's a little bit more thoughtful. Why Twitter is just like going
spontaneous. Just think about it and just snap on the finger. So you're talking about it from basically from the perspective of the content creator's perspective.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
I tend to agree. Twitter has a kind of most of a user-generated based content. Where everybody is just a content creator. Yeah,
everybody's a content creator. You know the funny thing, I think that currently most platforms are eventually going to be like that, where a lot of their content are user-generated. So, for example, look at when they ban Andrew Tate and a lot of people that they ban, right? It's not that they ban them. What eventually happens is that random people just upload their videos and shots on the platform. So if you look at TikTok now, like I don't think Andrew Tate ever even had a TikTok, but he has blown up on TikTok a million times because like it's other people that actually like upload this content.
Yeah,
you get so. If you are good and popular enough, you don't even need to be on all the social media. People will be there for you. You get like other people upload your content for example,
now, Gary.
There are a lot of channels on TikTok that are just basically or channels on YouTube that are basically just for Andrew Tate. Like that's what they do, and they get monetized and they make money.
Wait, they make money off Andrew Tate?
They make money off like it's your channel and you add like let's say 10k subscribers and like and you don't have to create any content yourself. What you just clip up other people's streams, so they stream on Rumble and stuff. Or they just clip up their streams and they used to make money.
They don't get any copyright infringement.
No, they don't need to get any copyright infringement. Who is going to file the infringement? If someone wants to file an infringement, it will be the creator themselves. So all those ones, they don't even care. You get, they even encourage it. You get, they encourage you to post their content.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So user generated in the sense that people get to post other people's videos, not like
exactly.
Okay.
So you don't have to be interested in yourself. You don't even have to show yourself. Nobody has to know you. You get, you just clip up other people's streams. And so do you know anything about Twitch? Like, do you use Twitch at all?
Yeah, for streaming a lot of things.
Yeah, a lot of gamers are there.
Gamers used to stream.
I've
not used it before, but I've gone to a lot of Twitch live streams.
Twitch is a weird one. Like, a lot of people that use it are mainly gaming oriented. And I feel like us, since we were never into that space, we never actually used Twitch. But there are a lot of like.
But I think musicians are using it now. I'm seeing a lot of musicians. Yeah, where you just get the guy just try on Twitch, go to be on Twitch like live and probably just do it, and someone can be like, oh, play me this song, and you just get to play and just. I think a lot of musicians need to make money now. I saw a particular guitarist that just is on Twitch like throughout the day.
But I feel like Twitch is one of the places you can easily get banned.
Okay.
Like Twitch. So
why is it called the live streaming issue? What makes it?
I don't even know. No, so Twitch, they have weird policies, right? So for example, I think Sneeko got banned after he left.
That's Sneeko.
Yeah, after he left YouTube, he just got banned the first day he joined
Twitch
because and they had zero reasons for banning him. All they banned him for was circumvention, which means that like if you've been banned on another platform, they don't want you on their platform again too.
That's interesting.
So whatever.
That's interesting.
Let's move on.
So you don't like Twitter? Is it because you prefer the video generated content? You prefer watching videos to learning? No, I'm saying that you prefer watching videos like to learn and to get stuff down.
Okay.
Reading text.
Yeah, for sure.
Is it all form of text you don't like reading? Or like I'm saying that.
Let's just say I don't like Twitter. Not even because of that text, just because of the way their platform is generated. So I like Reddit, right? Reddit is not bad.
I love Reddit too.
Exactly,
Reddit.
And Reddit is text generated. So I don't feel like it's even text. It's just the way
Reddit is more. They are more thoughtful. So Reddit has more of a kind of what do you call it? I think it's more thoughtful. Same thing with Quora too.
Who's Quora?
You don't know Quora. Quora is basically like Reddit.
Quora, yeah, for sure.
It's basically
I know those platforms are text generated and they are still fine. I feel like the difference is probably because there's no limit on the text. I feel like Twitter intensifies people to be stupid.
Yes. No. That's true.
Because of the constraint on the text, right? So,
what's the characters?
It's very to be like just spontaneously
less thoughtful.
dumb.
Go straight. True.
And the comments and so on.
And it doesn't give space. I never thought of until now. The limit character limit actually gives more space for ambiguity. In which you can't really clarify. The way you say something, I'll probably just clarify it. Like, you know, the way if you're reading a blog or reading a newspaper or something, where you could just say something and then probably just clarify it by reading long form. But this is that you have to just work within this text limits. So there's a lot of ambiguity that comes with text and all. So I can say something I can just say something that probably considered stupid. But if I'd given a longer time frame, I could probably just explain. I've understood the context.
Okay, yeah, for sure, yeah.
I think I never thought of that until just
context
now.
matters, I guess.
Yeah, context matters a lot. And I feel that most of the dramas we've had on social media and all, context will have just easily just solved them. It's not as though, I don't know. And perspective, not necessarily perspective.
All right. What's the next topic?
Let's play perspective. Let's talk about crypto, Favor.
Crypto. Yeah. Why do you want to talk about crypto? Crypto is...
I basically don't understand it as much as I would love to.
Yeah?
I just don't understand it as much as I would love to. There's a lot of all these...
Alpha, bro.
Alpha too.
Yeah. So
basically, I don't understand it as much as I would love to. So assume I'm a 4-year-old and you're trying to explain crypto to me. How would you explain crypto to me?
Oh, crypto.
Yeah.
So I think what people should just think about it is about what is it called? As an alternative to their current fiat system. So a lot of Nigerians really dislike their. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, a lot of Nigerians really dislike their current system. You get, so it's like they should think about it in terms of if you really dislike your financial system so much, why not just move? Why not just instead of Nigerians think of jackpotting a lot, right?
That's living the country.
Yeah, they do. So So instead of jackpotting, you can jackpot, that's good, but also think of jackpotting your finance in terms of migrating your finance from the current system to another system. So that's the way to think about crypto too. So the problem with crypto is there are a lot of shit and mess all around. You get.
By shit and mess, you mean?
Yeah, there are a lot of shit coins and a lot of other things. So you have to sift through it and pick what you're looking for. So that's the advantage, I guess. That's the advantage to crypto. So when we talk about inflation and everything like that, the issue with this is the cool thing. you can think of crypto as like a kind of asset.
Okay.
Right? And what inflation does for assets is that it makes them go crazy in terms of boom. Because what is happening is that like people are losing value in that their normal currency, right? And they're seeking to go through other currencies. So it makes things like Dogecoin attractive. You get the point, right? People want to move into something like Dogecoin. It makes something like that attractive.
Okay.
So yeah. So what you can do instead is that instead of looking for something like that, you look for like other methods. People like Bitcoin. I like Bitcoin too, but I don't hold any Bitcoin.
Why? Because it's too expensive?
No, Bitcoin is not too expensive. Bitcoin is too cheap.
What do you mean Bitcoin is too cheep?
Which means that like I feel like the potential price of Bitcoin is like
Bitcoin
is way down.
Okay.
Where it should actually be. Why don't I hold Bitcoin?
I think
I feel like the upside. Yeah, I feel like it's the upside I'm weighing.
Okay.
I'm weighing the upside based on what I think I can get.
So what do you hold Ethereum?
Other things. I hold Solana.
Solana.
Some other things. So that's why. But not Bitcoin. I hold Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not bad. I feel like you can hold Bitcoin, but it's fine. But I don't feel like if you don't want to hold any coins or anything, what you should probably think of holding is just holding like USD. But
USDT.
Yeah. But also, I don't like USD. Or like, don't get me wrong, USD is also bad. I don't want to hold. Just like I don't want to hold Naira, I don't want to hold that
currency.
Such is
But in some sense, actually, the upside is way better than holding Naira.
The upside. There's no upside. It's just that you're losing less money, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're still losing money, but you're losing less money. You get. So that's kind of it. So what's our next topic? Because I feel like you had crypto.
Yeah. I'm going to do crypto. I'm going to. I just feel like
what is wrong in terms of like? I've been telling you in terms of like, I've been telling you about crypto and you can like don't hold there and do. Why have you not done something like that since? Like, what do you think?
No.
Even apart from your own self, what do you think holds people back from trying new?
That's the reason why I wanted us to talk about it. I feel it's okay. For one, I think one of the reasons is change is not the way people are to change.
Yeah.
It's not only the
people don't like change, Abby.
Yes. People don't like it, and it's safe. Like the safety of what you already used to is just it's that kind. When I mean safety like your idea of short-term safety. It's not like it's safe to just be familiar with what you are used to already. And still, you are used to already. And I feel the whole crypto world is just jam packed with a lot of. For example, now I try my best to try to understand crypto.
Yeah.
And that's even me that to make things I'm actually.
I think yes. And
I'm trying my best. I'm unable to fully grasp it.
Yeah.
But I feel it's just so. There are a lot of. I have to go Ethereum, I have to go blockchain, I have to think of. So when I told one of my friends, explain crypto to me, or explain the idea of, and I'm like, blockchain, and I'm like, I went to school, like, I have a certain level of education, like, I don't even understand this. So I wonder, I think one of the reasons why most people are just, it seems very, very difficult to even understand in the first place. That's why I was like, okay, just assume I'm like a 4-year-old and try to even just explain crypto to me in a way that people can really necessarily understand. And I think to your point, the what you said about fiat currencies, the truth about it, that fiat currencies actually suck. Like, that is true about it. Like, the best time to ever know fiat currency is just now. Just see the way they're just messing up. So
I agree.
Remember at this time I didn't agree. I was like, but now I'm like, okay, this really sucks.
Okay, this is the thing about fiat, right? It's almost like there's a decline, right? And the decline is kind of obvious. But what the central bank are trying to do is to just delay how long they want the decline to be. Do you get? Right. So,
or should I say what the central bank and probably we in government are trying to just push it, that it does not have to just happen in their own time. I can see that happen in the US now.
Push it somebody else. Okay, because it's all political, right?
Yeah,
political.
They don't want it
so you want to push it to you the next time. I get.
To mess up your.
Yeah. So it's all temporary solutions to get to where you're going. I get.
But it's inevitable, like that you are saying.
Yeah, you see what I was saying about how you said the issue is it's the government that issues the money.
Yes.
So you see why it's bad for the government to issue the money, because the government have short-term thinking.
Yes.
That kind of stuff.
And when they try to solve all these short-term solutions by pumping money into the printing out money, which, like we said last time, is actually very, very bad policy in some sense. When they try to actually just do that, just pumping money, then we get to see the effect of that in other.
I agree. Yeah, let me get a reaction from this.
To the girl in English class, what is funny? What is hilarious about my painful attempt to communicate in a language that is not even my own? So this accent tells a story of survival. Tells how my mother tongue endured to this day, so I expect you treat my tongue with some respect. Every word, every syllable I utter comes from a riot within. My mouth is a babble between subconscious tongue, teeth, and vocal cord. So excuse you if my speech does not suit you. So this speech comes from this slaughterhouse I call a mouth. See, my mouth is a battlefield. A clash of unyielding cultures, warring for dominance. See, my tongue is a traumatized survivor. Lost in this alien fluency. See, this accent is how I find my way home. How I say idikpi without biting my tongue, so my tongue is forever at war with itself, forever fighting to decolonize itself, fighting to lose and regain itself all at the same time, so cut me some slack. I will not be ashamed nor refrain from saying my name, and no, I will not apologize for my mother's legacy. For there is no dignity in denying my identity. So to the girl in English class, should do it.
I think I understand what she's trying to say, but then I'm confused. Do you understand?
Okay. If you don't understand, I didn't understand. It's very obvious what she's trying to say.
And you tell what you understand by it now.
So this girl here, she's a very brilliant girl, apparently. A very smart girl. But anyway, she's trying to make the point about native accents and the way people talk, especially Africans, and the way other Africans criticize how other people's accents and other people's way of talking are, right? So she's trying to make the point that, like, don't judge me based on, like, the way my accent sounds, because that's a manifestation of my own mother's tongue. And why should I be ashamed of that? You get? And she's doing it in this poetic kind of way. She's probably like
spoken artist.
So when I watched it yesterday, it was still going, but now it has 1 million likes. I mean 1 million views now. 1.6 million views. Like, I can tell when something's going to go viral. I knew it was going to go viral because, like, things that go viral, it eats people here because people get what she's saying, even if she does not say more. People understand, like, that feeling of because there's nobody that judges people based on how they talk. Like, for example, now there are these guys that we did remote job with, right? So they are Americans, right? And, like, just when you're talking with them, right? Let's say they can't understand something you're saying. The way they react is very different from the way, let's say, in Nigeria we react. You get? It's kind of like, I was almost like normal, or like almost like they expect in terms of, like, okay, like, with the way you grew up, you know that, like, you don't speak.
You don't. Yeah.
That's not the way you talk. You get? And I feel like people really related to it. That's why. People related to it. Let me even see if I can find any interesting comments. Yeah. They say someone told me as a law student that I have a language barrier because I don't have an accent. Oh shit. It says I speak 6 languages and they only speak 1. Okay, you've seen that comment. You've seen that comment.
Yeah.
Which is,
I think what she's saying actually resonating to me now. Just thinking about it.
Yeah,
now.
so I think Trevor Noah made a point in one of his stand-up shows. And our accents are just someone trying to speak your language with their own
understand of your
mindset.
understand of your culture. Yeah.
You get?
Yeah.
That's just all accent. Like, if you see an Irish person trying to speak English, or a Kenyan or someone else trying to speak English, they're just trying to speak it with
the understanding of what. Yes.
You get? That's just all it is. I like this. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I'll clip this up.
It's brilliant. Is she a Nigerian?
Yeah, for sure. She's like an Igbo girl. She's probably not Igbo. Because honestly, we don't know. Yeah, just a lot of tribes in Nigeria that we just say Igbo, Hausa.
We use Igbo to just group them together.
Yeah, a lot.
Or Hausa.
So I think is it 200 tribes in Nigeria?
Let me check.
Most of them are like from the south and
Southeast.
So for example, now Yorubas, like, there are like very few, let's say, tribes in Yoruba. Let's say there are a lot of.
What? 371.
Okay, 371, right?
What?
Is that tribal language?
This
check language. I'm talking about language.
Okay, let me check language. What's 371 tribes? Let me check language. 500. Huh.
500 languages in
yes,
Nigeria.
over 5.
Africa or Nigeria?
Nigeria is one of the most linguistically diverse countries in the world, with over 500 languages spoken. Huh.
Yes. And most of the languages, I think, are in the south and somewhere in the north. Because when you think about west here, mostly what we speak are Yoruba and maybe some other dialects. But in the south, they have a lot of other languages. Just a lot.
That's interesting. 500. Huh. And if you ask a normal average Nigerian, will say just 3. Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's all simplistic, and simplicity has its own what is it called? Usefulness.
Yes. It makes it easy to grasp a lot of times. Yeah. So we're talking about all these herdsmen clashes. Just say they're the Hausas. That's just say no, it's not the Hausas. They are the Fulanis. Like, I have to say that there are some people making when people are talking about that.
You have to be nuanced, Abby.
Yeah. Like that. I think I agree with you on that. But then I think so. When it comes to talking about Nigerian culture and all, one of the things that really bothers me, to Kanye's point, which is one of the things I think I agree on that Kanye said before, is that we Africans love to still blame those that colonized us then for our present mistakes, which is just like total bullshit. If you think of it. Like, I remember when Queen Elizabeth died. Like,
when who died?
Queen Elizabeth died.
Okay, yeah.
And so we're like, no, that the corona. I'm like, how many? Like, I know Kanye came out to talk about that a time, and people were like attacking him. What that's the truth about it? That like the present world we are in 2022, you are blaming someone that, of course, maybe they probably messed up, even they did mess up, but then you don't take responsibility of what's happening to you now.
I guess.
You are now saying that she colonized our grandfathers, our great, like.
It doesn't make sense.
I don't know. It just pisses me off.
You know, I like that take on it.
Okay.
Talking about one of like Kanye takes and stuff. So one of the brilliant things that Kanye said, which made me really think, right? Yeah, and he asked this question. Everybody thought it was crazy, but he asked this question. I think it was on Joe Rogan, and he said, "How much does the earth cost?"
How much does the earth?
Yeah. How much does the earth cost?
Interesting question.
And Joe Rogan paused like, "What?" Well, like I thought of this, I was like, "Ooh, how much does the earth cost?" Like when you think about it, like let's put a value on it. How do we measure that? Do we like go like how much are the real estate? So I think Tay was making a point that like when he drives past in England, like he drives through multiple states, that the way he knows how much things cost, like he knows he has driven past, let's say, 500 billion worth of property. In terms of like who owns those properties, right? Can we put a value on all the real estate on the earth and like give the value? Can we also put a value on like the human capital? Like those are the things that keep people thinking, and I feel like the reason it thought like that, and I know a lot of people don't think like that, but I know they're the kind of people that think are like billionaires that have money. Because he already got started. It's like in his mind, just like how much does this stuff cost? In terms of like, what's the value of this thing? You get? And I thought that like you'll never be able to think like that if you're a brokey, right? You can't have you can't even like afford like a house or a car or anything. You can't be thinking how much is the earth cost. Like it just gives you a change. That's why I feel like just apart from having money, right? It just gives you a perspective, or like you just see differently. Just to realize that you would never be able to come to even that. You never be able to even ask that question, to even raise that question if you're a brokey. So it's like fucking brokey. You know.
Now that you're